Hey, it's Steve Cochran, and before we get to the Deep Six, I want to remind you to stick around right after because the former president has agreed to call the show. Donald Trump joins me after the Deep Six. Remember, Patty Steele's in New York, I'm in Chicago, and we're going to talk about 6 stories that aren't getting covered in the regular news because, well, they're just not. It's important that we bring them up, and we're going to do that now. Thanks for listening to the Deep Six.
The Deep Six. 6 stories from your world in 30 minutes or less. Hosted by Patty Steele and Steve Cochran. The Deep Six is on.
Welcome to the Deep Six. We're doing a regular show this week as opposed to what we did last week. But Patty Steele live in New York and I'm in Chicago. If you don't mind, let's just do a quick recap because people can go back and get those shows anytime. Tell folks what we did because I feel good about it and I know you do too.
Yeah, we did basically a deep dive into addiction, which has touched both of our lives very closely. We brought your brother, Mickey, on, who had a very, very, very serious alcohol problem for a number of years, but has been clean for 18 years. And you interviewed him. I interviewed my son, Jake, who had a very severe heroin addiction for several years as a really young guy, has now been clean for 5 years this month, and is living a beautiful, vibrant life as they both are. And I think that the big takeaway for me, and it certainly has resonated with listeners to the podcast, is that it gives you this little sense of hope because so often we talk about addiction and the toll that it takes. And man, don't we know the vicious toll that it takes on people's lives and on our society. But to know that there can be a path forward, there can be light at the end of the tunnel. And most importantly, that the big takeaway is that we all need to have a sense of compassion when it comes to people struggling with this. Do your best to separate the person from the illness. And you not only are healing yourself, but you're doing so much to help them move forward and separate themselves from the illness. I think for my son, I know that was a huge thing because he so identified with his addiction as being a part of him, and thus really kind of hated himself for a period of time. He thought, this is my life. This is all I'm ever going to be. And it wasn't until he saw the beauty in who he is and what his possibilities were that he began the process of getting help and getting through it.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a word of what you just said. And all I would like to add is go listen to the podcast and share it with anybody in your life that is going through it or that you think could benefit from it. And in all likelihood, you might be able to benefit from it as well. It's
a 2-parter. So make a really, really big batch of popcorn.
PattySteele.com and what's my website? Oh, yeah, that's right. CochranShow.com. You can get it there as well as the Live from My Office podcast feed. All right. Now, on the Deep Six, Patty's in New York, I'm in Chicago, and we try to give you 6 stories each week and maybe even a couple of bonus items that are not the news you're being pounded with over and over again. So there are things that maybe aren't getting enough coverage. And normally we start off as we do with item number 1 with show business.
Woohoo!
The Deep Six. Story number 1.
Brian Cox is one of my favorite actors, period. I mean, it's not even close. And he's out selling his book now, which is called Putting the Rabbit in the Hat, which is out in America this week. It was out previously in the UK. He's 75 years old.
He is, we should say who he is. He plays Logan Roy on a show we both love, Succession. He's the dad. He's the patriarch of the family, and he's a real ass, but it's okay.
and he also is the voiceover guy that you hear on McDonald's all the time now going, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That guy. He's that
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. I learned something new from the Deep Six. Wow.
There you go. Well, it's a very educational show.
Oh, yeah.
But in this book, he talks about all his acting experiences because it's a biography. And he does a pretty good job of slamming Johnny Depp, Steven Seagal, Michael Caine, who he loves, Jonathan Pryce as well, the great British actor, Gary Oldman. A lot of these folks he likes.
He slams them?
Yeah, he likes them, but he was very honest about what he thought about their acting chops and working with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you want to find out more about Logan Roy from Succession, the real guy, Brian Cox, and his very interesting career in life, that book is out now. But speaking of Succession,
Yes.
I never finished season 3, and I'm going back and I'm finishing it now.
Uh-huh.
A couple of things about this show, and I love this show, and most
Mhm.
people that have dove in love the show, but there's 2 things.
Mhm.
I like sex as much or more than anybody, but every scene,
More than anybody?
well, every scene has something to do with some sort of sex act or bodily function in some way, shape, or form. And at some point, I just go, no, enough already.
Yeah.
And it's the furthest thing from a prude response. It's just that nobody talks like that.
I know it offends your delicate sensibilities.
Well,
And I can't get enough of it, to be honest with you. No, I know what you're saying. There's a lot of conversations that take place between the brothers and sisters about their dad and his needs,
Right.
and one another, and it's like, okay, you're gonna go back there, but I still love the show.
No, don't get me wrong. I love the show, but that does aggravate me at times. And I have a curiosity about the show. Maybe you can fill in the blank.
Okay.
I'd like to know why Logan Roy is so angry. You know, he's an 80-year-old guy on the show. He's one of the richest guys in the world. He's in charge of this gigantic empire. I get it that his great thrill is being competitive and stomping on people. Mm-hmm. He's just very angry. So wouldn't it be great to know a little of the backstory?
It would be. I really like that. It's kind of like right now I'm really getting into 1883, which is the backstory to Yellowstone. So we need a backstory to Succession. What's a word for going back or for Succession as opposed to regression?
Yeah, regression. We need regression on Succession.
But the anger thing is, I don't know. I think that sometimes I look at people like that just can't get enough of everything they want in life. And partly it is the desire to answer something that is unanswerable in their souls. And that could be where he came from growing up, what went on in his life. I mean, it would be a fascinating thing to explore. That's for sure.
I'll make some calls, see if we can get that done.
Regression.
Regression. We need regression on Succession. The other story I wanted to bring up, which I don't think you've seen yet, is about the actress Lori Petty, who we haven't seen that much of. But if you remember, man, she was as hot as it could be, A-list wise, as a young star coming up in the early 90s. She was in her late 20s at that point. She's now in her late 50s. But she did an interview with the website Bustle. And I don't know Lori
Bustle.
Petty.
That's
Bustle.
Yeah, like the thing that used to shove in the back of your dress to look like you had a big butt.
Yes, I still use those. Yes, at this point.
I don't need that.
But after you read this interview, I love Lori Petty. It's just very cool. Her attitude on life is very cool. She said she thought she had her career figured out because she was getting all these acting jobs. She did Point Break, where she was making out with Keanu Reeves on the beach. She grew up in a trailer in Tennessee, had nothing, came to LA, had no agent, had an interesting look as sort of the athletic girl next door. And she ends up getting movie after movie after movie. She was in A League of Her Own. Penny Marshall directed that. She put her in a trailer with Madonna. They were in the same makeup trailer. And she said she's sitting there with Madonna half naked talking about life. And she loved Madonna. She's just eternally positive.
And she was in Free Willy. I love Free Willy.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep. And she just has the best attitude. The interviewer was asking her about stuff, and she just had this realization, this epiphany. She goes, "You know what's cool? What's cool is getting old because I have so many cool stories." And I don't know. I just would love to.
It's a wonderful attitude.
Yeah, she really does. She has a great attitude. She talked about how movie sets used to pay per diem, and they don't do that so much anymore, where they'd hand you envelopes of cash. And she said years later, she was cleaning out a Nike duffel bag, and she's very grateful for all the success she's had, and she's made a decent amount of money. But she said, I opened up the duffel bag, and there was $20,000 in cash in these little envelopes that you never opened.
Oh, that's a nice little envelope. I thought you were talking about like, here's $25 to go get a burger.
Right. She said, "Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I need to go open a bank account." And I thought, I'm an adult. I should have a bank account. So I don't know. Again, I don't know Lori Petty, but I really like Lori Petty, and I may start the Lori Petty fan club based on what I read in Bustle. Just a tip for you if you want to read something positive from somebody in show business.
That's really cute. I love that.
Let's go to item number 2.
The Deep Six, number 2.
This is really interesting. Here in New York, we have a newspaper called the New York Post.
Right.
And they decided to do a story about it's called The Invincibles. And basically what it's about is people who are confused as to why they haven't gotten COVID. So you have these people who are like,
they're not grateful, they're confused.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. I'm social. I get around. Obviously, maybe I'm not social enough because I still haven't gotten it. And so then this one guy was saying, I kept thinking, well, this is really cool. I haven't gotten it. And he said, now I'm starting to be like, what's wrong with me that I don't have it? Am I not attractive enough? Am I not social enough? Why haven't I gotten it? Yeah, there's a picture in the article, this woman who says, I've done everything I've wanted to do. I went to a jazz jam and I was dancing close up to tons of people, no masks on. And they have pictures of her like reenacting her jazz jam. And she says, I don't understand it. And so now there's all these people trying to question whether or not they have some weird genetic thing going on in them that keeps them from getting it. Now,
people just don't want to be happy, do they?
They don't want to be happy. It's like, wait a minute. At first it was like, oh God, I don't want to get that. And then it was like, wait a minute. All my friends have had it. Why haven't I had it? Now they don't want to have me over. It's kind of like, we talked about this before, that party somebody held down in Palm Beach.
Yep.
Where they rented 2 houses side by side, and one was for people who tested positive and the other house was for people who tested negative.
Right.
It's like, you still want to be able to socialize, right? So
it's amazing to me, though, that people would not just be super grateful that they're okay, and they'd be wondering why they're not okay. Just,
why am I not okay? Why am I not okay? Right. That's it. I had to put that for my
spend
brain.
Any time at all on that, as opposed to just being thrilled that you're okay. Now, you have another piece to that story, though, which I'm curious about, because we're all in masks, as we should be, because it's the right thing to do. And by the way, here's a bulletin, folks. We know masks aren't perfect.
Yes.
But we do know you have more protection with you and for other people around you. Even if it's just a little bit, you have more. So knowing what we know, who knew there were benefits as well? Because it turns out masks make us sexier. Is that accurate?
Yeah, masks definitely make you more attractive. Now, in fairness, they decided that they were going to only measure the attractiveness level for men. I don't know why that would be, but they are saying that basically when you go out and you put on this mask, there are certain kinds that make you look more attractive. Weirdly, and again, they just measured it again with men and women looking at the men, and maybe men looking at the men. They discovered that the blue medical masks made people look sexier than any other kind of mask. They like that. And they reason that that is because when you're wearing a blue medical mask, we're all so used to feeling safe around healthcare workers now and wanting to feel, and they say that's part of it. Then the other thing they say is masks in general are deemed more attractive than no mask. And they said that could be because it covers up less than desirable features on your face.
Yeah, that's why I wear the extra mask for my extra chin.
Right.
But there's a second piece to this story as well. So feel good about wearing the mask.
Right.
Is the first piece, but the second piece is, and I want to be fair about this, but you told me about a woman before we started recording who doesn't seem to understand men as much as she thinks she does. So what's that story?
Well, obviously you want to look desirable when you head out on a first date, right?
Sure.
So influencer Sophia Franklin decided she would share her first date ritual with all of us. She says she always sends herself a drink from a fake secret admirer so her date thinks she's in demand. She says, I go to the bathroom and then secretly sneak around to the bar, and I pay the bartender to send me a, air quotes, anonymous shot so my date remembers I have options, because men love healthy competition. I think women do too, but she just blew her cover now that she's gone public with that.
Well,
No
I can
guy
also
will.
tell you that she's a fool. And I don't know the person, and I wish her nothing but the best. But when you do that on a date, a guy doesn't go, oh, well, I can win this battle. A guy goes, I don't need this.
Yeah.
And whether he says it out loud or not, he's out. You know, Chris Rock does a chunk of this in stand-up from his act back in the old days,
Right.
where he talks about men don't fight with men the same way women fight with women. And he said, he brought up a story about going out with his wife and his wife's best friend, and his wife made him go to the bathroom with her because she didn't dare leave him at the table. Because that's how viciously competitive the female side of this is. I can just tell you right now, this woman, I'm glad she's viral. Good luck with your future. Terrible idea. Don't start a relationship on a first date by telling a man there could be somebody better than you around the corner.
The Deep Six.
Now, there's another interesting thing about TikTok influencers.
Okay.
And a lot of us don't realize how much money these people make.
It's crazy, right?
Oh, it's crazy. The Wall Street Journal did this story based on the Forbes list of the top TikTok stars, comparing their income to the income of some big CEOs. Listen to this.
Okay.
This young chick, Charlie D'Amelio, who started posting videos of herself dancing on TikTok a few years ago, brought in last year almost $18 million. And her older sister, Dixie, who has about half the TikTok followers of Charlie, was the second highest TikTok earner, bringing in $10 million. These two chicks, between the two of them, their parents must be like delighted, have brought in $28 million in the last year. Charlie beat out the CEO of ExxonMobil, who made $15.6 million, the Starbucks CEO at $14.7 million, the CEO of Delta Airlines, who earned $13 million, and McDonald's CEO, who made just $10.8 million. Then you've got this young chick, Addison Rae, who is acting. She's singing. She's doing all kinds of things. She made $8.5 million last year, but she started on TikTok, and she made a little more than the CEO of Costco.
You know, those CEOs have done nothing compared to those two ladies dancing and the other people you mentioned. It's crazy. But, you know, look, I guess what we have to say, right, is good for them. If you can make it, you can make it, get it. But it's so out of balance.
Yeah, but think about it. Just why don't you just take your clothes off, leave your boxers on, and just start dancing? Think of how easy that would be. That's easy money, man.
I've just been informed by Instagram that they don't want to see that in my case. So I've got to get back to it. I don't know.
You know, I hate to tell you, but they probably would. You'd be amazed at what people will watch.
Well, you know what? That's exactly right. So I guess I know what my afternoon plans will be when we finish recording.
Exactly.
The Deep Six. Number 4.
Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Let's talk a little romance, because Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, he of the 8 million tattoos, are engaged. But you have information on this ring, which is kind of interesting.
I have information on the ring and on the engagement itself.
Okay.
Wow. First of all, she's talking. She said on Instagram that when he proposed to her under the banyan tree in Puerto Rico, where they first met, she answered, just as in every lifetime before this one, and as in every lifetime that will follow it, I said yes. And then we drank each other's blood. Okay. Thank you. Now, MGK gave Megan this gorgeous engagement ring. It's a pear-shaped emerald, kind of tucked around a pear-shaped diamond. He says he helped design it, I'll bet. In addition to being magnetic, so it can come apart and be two different rings, when it's together, it's held in place by a magnet. He says the bands are actually thorns. So if she tries to take it off, it will hurt her. And the reason for that, to remind her that love is pain.
What do you give those two? A month? Month and a half?
I mean, they're like big on talking about being soulmates. How when they met and just started, they just connected all of the pain that was in their past. Because look at them, why shouldn't they be in pain? They just understood each other right off the bat.
Well, look, I'm like you. I want everybody to be happy, including these two nuts. But can I ask you a question about rings? To me, I didn't know rings could be magnetic. Is that something that it's done?
Well, it's got some kind of metal in it that is magnetic, because obviously gold and platinum, those are not magnetic.
Is that something women would want? My ring's magnetic?
I don't think they'd mind that so much as they might mind the thorns inside the ring, so that when you try to take it off, it's like trying to pull a porcupine quill out of your arm or whatever.
Well, I'm filled with tips today. So here's one for Machine Gun Kelly. If she's taking off the ring to fool around on you, she's not going to care if it hurts her pinky.
Yeah, she might actually like it.
So there's your romance interlude. Let's go to item number 5.
The Deep Six, number 5.
Speaking of things coming up, this is an older story from Rolling Stone, but I thought it's great. And the halftime show is always a big part of the Super Bowl. I know what my favorite is of all time. And I've got a couple, but let me just fly through these according to the Rolling Stone list from worst to best. They hated the Black Eyed Peas back in 2011. They said everything.
They hated them, huh?
Hated them. Everything from 1967 to 1989, when the Super Bowl started, until the big TV era of the Super Bowl hit in 1990. Everything sucked. And you remember
Up
back
with America? Then, they didn't love Up with America?
Was it Up with America? Up with people? It was Up with People.
Up with people. Okay.
Yeah. And they had
I rebuilt it.
They had college bands playing. This is before our time, but apparently at one point, they had Elvis impersonators, Carol Channing, George Burns, and the Rockettes all involved.
The Rockettes, wow.
Yeah. New Kids on the Block, they hated that show. And, a lot of these are forgettable. Gloria Estefan and the Olympic figure skaters of 1992. I don't know if that
were
included
figure skating on a football field.
Yeah, I don't know if that included like Tanya Harding whacking somebody in the leg in the middle. Maybe that's why Gloria Estefan limps.
Yeah. Oh God. Mean. Hello.
Well, no, it's a joke. Patti LaBelle did a show with Tony Bennett and the Miami Sound Machine, which I don't remember. Also very low on the list. There was a show with jazz great Pete Fountain and Snoopy, which I also don't remember. So it didn't really get in, and the Blues Brothers. It didn't really get into the big, crazy, lasered up shows until the last few years. And I would say the real era of Super Bowl halftime stuff, where it's an automatic, you got to pay attention to it, was Janet Jackson's nipple. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that was, I hesitate to say it, but that was big.
and that's what turned the page on all of it. Right. The shows that came after that, it's always a thing. Did it work? Did it not work? I'll tell you my favorite, but which one's yours? Is there one that stands out in your mind?
I loved Katy Perry because I just love her. Yeah, she's goofy, and great. She had those goofy dancing fish, or what were they? They were like sharks or something.
Oh yeah.
And then one of them went the wrong way, and the other one was going. Yeah. Right. I just think she's adorable, and I really like that. I actually liked The Weeknd. A lot of people hated that when he did he was just last year, right?
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about it, but I liked it.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't crazy about it, but for whatever reason, I really liked that. Am I wrong? Did Michael Jackson at some point do a halftime show?
He was involved with one. I don't remember. As I scroll through the list quickly, I don't see it here specifically, but let me give you the Rolling Stones top 3. And
1993. I'm sorry.
93. Okay.
I did look it up. Yes, he was 1993. I always anything he did.
Rolling Stone says Beyonce in 2013.
Oh yeah.
Was great. She came in at number 3. U2 in 2002. U2's always good. The Rolling Stones made the list as well. I love my number 2 of all time would have been Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were great.
Yeah.
And number 1 was Prince in 2007.
Yeah.
Doing Purple Rain while it was the middle of a monsoon in Miami at halftime during that game. And Prince just at the absolute peak of his power. So I agree with the number 1 choice they have of Prince.
Yeah. Wow. We haven't really had shows of that caliber recently.
No, and the weird thing is this year, I don't know if you heard, it's Carrot Top in his trunk of props. I don't know if you heard
that'll
that.
be so much fun.
Yeah.
The Deep Six. Number 6.
Generation Z, as all generations do, have their own language. And I want to give you a little quiz here for item number 6.
Okay.
Generation Z words, and let's see if you know what any of these mean. When I looked over these words, I can tell you I knew maybe 2. All right.
Okay.
So if somebody from Gen Z says the word stan, what is stan?
Stand up.
Look at you. Look at you going street. No, stan's a combination of stalker and fan. If you're standing someone, it means you're obsessed with someone.
Okay. All right.
What about dank?
Dank. Yeah, that's actually, I believe, I'm going to say this and I'll probably be wrong. Dank is a good thing.
It is a good thing. I had no idea. Dank to me is what your garbage disposal smells like if you haven't cleaned it.
Yeah, or it's one of those days where it's like really awful and dark and moist outside. No, I've heard that term around this household. So
you're already tied with me. What about bougie? You know what bougie is?
Yes, bougie. That means, it's too bougie. It's too hot shot. It's too.
Look at you.
Yeah, look, I'm so cool. I'm so freaking cool. Do you not get that?
I do now. This next one, you won't be surprised that I didn't get it because I don't even know how to
dank.
Yes, you are. I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's Cheugy. Cheggy? Chugi? Cheugy?
I wish my kids were down here right now.
Right?
Cheugy. Yeah. Thank God for phones.
Chuggy. Chuggy means not trendy at all. Not hip, you're chuggy. So, what about a snack? Do you know what a snack is? And it's not a snack. So what's a snack if it's not a snack?
If it's not a snack, it's carrots.
No, snack is someone that you find hot. Oh, look at that.
Oh, you're a snack.
Yeah, how about that? What if I said you're sipping the tea in Gen Z world? What is that?
You're sipping the tea?
Mm-hmm.
You're buying in?
You're listening to gossip rather than taking part in the gossip. And if you were taking part in the gossip, you're spilling the tea.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Well,
yeah. Oh, sure. Drip. What's another drip? You know, a lot of these sound like plumbing terms now, don't they? Drip. What's drip in Gen Z talk?
Drip. Oh, God. That one I'm lost. I can't even go there. I don't know.
Well, it's another way of saying swag, cool, sexy, trendy, stylish. In other words, you're dank and drip.
See, and our generation would slap you in the face if you said that to us.
It does sound sort of insulting.
Yeah.
Sheesh. SHEESH. Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Because sheesh to me, and this is not the answer, sheesh to me means, ooh, that was a close one. Well, I almost got hit by that bus. Sheesh.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I'm thinking it's more a takeoff on something that's like, I'm going back. Everything, they're all seem to be words that are, trendy. Is it trendy?
It's used to hype someone if they're looking good or doing something good.
Yeah, sheesh, like chic, but sheesh. Okay. See, that was just a guess and it worked.
A couple of more. Snatched with an ED, snatched.
Snatched.
Same sort of theme you were just on.
Okay. So so basically you're looking red hot. You're looking good.
Very good. If you're looking snatched, you look really good, particularly your outfit. How about guap? GUAP, guap. You got a lot of guap. If you have a lot of guap, what do you have a lot of?
Money. Stuff. Yeah.
Why would money be guap?
I have no idea.
Nor do I. And finally,
how do you spell it?
GUAP, guap.
GUAP.
Yeah, guap. You know the traditional spelling of guap, GUAP. It means you got a lot of money.
Okay, a lot of cash.
And this sums up my performance on the quiz, which, by the way, you blew me out of the water with this thing. You got
not really. I felt very confused.
This one is, this ain't it, Chief, which is what I was told right after I finished the quiz. This ain't it, Chief. What does that mean?
You didn't do it?
Another way of giving disapproval for something or failing at something. Yep. This ain't it, Chief. You don't know Gen Z. So there you go. That's item number 6.
I'm going to try to build all of that into one conversation with my kid when I go upstairs.
Do that. Just tie all those words together.
Hey, got any guap? I really am feeling like I want to look dank tonight.
Sheesh. I still got it wrong. All right. And it's the case in all of our deep 6. We'll give you a couple of quickies that didn't make the cut for the 6 stories that didn't make it. This one is so stunningly stupid, but it goes kind of tied with the spending money on things earlier that we talked about, or all the money involved in TikTok. You know what an NFT is? It's digital art, and it's very hot.
Sure. Right.
All right. Some cyber folks made a bunch of money and spent $266 million just the other day on an NFT of an original copy of Dune, the science fiction book.
Yes.
Experts say it should have sold for no more than $10,000. They spent $266 million.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, the reason they spent that money is because they thought it would then entitle them to copyright over everything related to Dune. They had no reason to believe this. One of the idiots in their cyber group with all the money decided it was good. $266 million. It's sort of like that story you told me a long time ago. Who was the guy? Another social influencer?
Oh, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, right.
Logan Paul. Now, he apparently thought he was buying a sealed box of first edition Pokemon cards. And so he handed over $3.5 million, and he looked inside. And do you know what was in that box?
I do not.
G.I. Joe cards. Apparently not worth $3.5 million, unlike the Pokemon cards. Now, there is an update on that story.
Oh, there is.
Yes, he is denying accusations that the entire thing was staged just to get YouTube views. But here we are sharing it, so maybe it was.
You know, what's interesting is I probably would have copped to the YouTube views thing as opposed to admitting I was an idiot and spent that kind of money on a box of sealed cards.
And Shakabon Shock got G.I. Joe cards instead.
All right, now you have an extra story on doggies, and we both love doggies.
Oh, we absolutely love doggies. Can your dog understand the difference between different languages? What do you think? You think they can?
No, I wouldn't think so. I would think it's whatever they hear in the house, wouldn't it be?
Well, the answer is yes, they can understand it.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is.
That ain't it,
Otherwise,
Chief.
why tell the story, right?
That ain't it, Chief.
Yeah. A new study says that a dog's brain can detect different speech patterns between familiar and unfamiliar languages. So, and it's funny because the researchers that did this study are in Hungary. Neither place speaks English or Spanish, but they say it's the first time that they were able to prove that a non-human brain was able to distinguish between two different languages. So the question is, if I'm in the house and I'm speaking English to my pups, or you're here and you're speaking Spanish, do they understand what both of us are saying? Or, I mean, how do they know that they're hearing different languages? That's what I don't understand.
I think what it totally depends on is whether or not we're taking them outside, or outside, or outside for a ride in the car, or ride in the car, and whether or not there's kibble involved. That would be my extensive knowledge of it.
It's like, voulez-vous coucher, or would you like to go to bed with me?
Right.
Puppy.
That's it. It's the puppy version of that.
Right. And they just hear your voice.
That's it. It's the Deep Six, available at Patty Steele's homepage, her website, pattysteele.com. You can also get it from cochranshow.com and on the Live from My Office feed. We'll do this again next time, and we invite you, as always, to send us any comments, questions, story ideas to thecochranshow@gmail.com. Patty, what else do we need to add at this point?
Oh, boy, I need a nap after this.
It was quite a workout.
It was a workout.
All right, we're going to go take a nap. And in the meantime, go study your Gen Z. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. The Deep Six. Subscribe, rate, follow, or review at pattysteele.com or cochranshow.com.
All right, before we go, Donald Trump, as promised, standing by on the phone. And let me just take a second before I grab that call to say thank you, Ross Cochran, executive producer of Live from My Office. Get it, subscribe to it, rate and review it. It's Live from My Office wherever you get podcasts. The Deep Six is a feature of the Live from My Office network. All right, I've made him wait long enough. Let me grab the phone here. It's the former President Donald Trump. Hello, sir.
Hello, Cochran. Hey, just so you know, we got to make this fast because when we wrap up here, Jason Momoa wants me to give him some pointers about how to land women. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Looking forward to being his mentor. He's got some potential, I think. By the way, Lisa Bonet, huh?
Yeah.
I could get into that. Not too shabby for leftovers, right?
Yeah. No, I don't like your chances. Listen,
bring it on, baby.
Sir, we saw you hold a big rally in Arizona.
You saw. Lots of people saw. It was very popular. They came out to see me in droves, Cochran. Droves. Out to see me at my wonderful, very loving, very patriotic Arizona rally. You know, Democrats are so jealous, but Biden can't get crowds like that. There's not enough room for that many people and their oxygen tanks, believe me.
I see what you did there.
And, of course, as always, the liberals are always saying my beautiful Arizona rally was full of paid actors. Paid actors. Fake news. Not true. I never pay anyone. You know that.
I actually, that's the truest thing you've said so far. Now, at that Arizona rally, you were really critical of the president. You say he's failing in many areas. Is that called for? Is that how you should act?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And not only was I critical, but I mimicked him. Listen to this. Ready? Oh, come on, man. I'm doing the best job I can. Come on, man. That's a pretty good impression, right? On the spot, when you think about it.
Bad. Yeah, I guess you have time to work on the important things now. Yeah.
Frankly, I have time in the golf cart, when I'm driving from hole to hole.
Sure.
But if anything, I think I went pretty easy on Joe. I went pretty easy on Sleepy Joe. Lots of people say that. Look, this guy, Biden has mishandled and dropped more balls than a room full of proctologists. He really has.
Your act is really coming together. Now, former President Trump, if you could keep it clean, it would be helpful.
I'm totally clean. I'm always clean, honest, and clean. Tell that to the New York AG, okay? Look, I think it might be easier to find a unicorn than it is to find an American that actually thinks Biden is doing a great job. No, really. No, seriously. Look, in all fairness, he's created a total disaster at our southern border. He's a total disaster dealing with COVID. And he's delivered yet another total disaster in the record high inflation we're experiencing. That's quite an accomplishment. It's a triple crown of geriatric liver-spotted world leader screw-ups. It really is.
I think I was.
That's why Angela Merkel left office. She was so embarrassed for him.
I just think that's a band I was in. You remember the geriatric liver-spotted world leaders? Now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. From administration to administration, there's leftover stuff, sir. I mean, you're not taking any credit for the problems we're in, I guess.
Oh, so when does he start taking credit? We're a year in. He's still blaming me, huh?
You were blaming Obama for 4 years.
If Sleepy Joe was a Walmart greeter, all I'm saying is if Sleepy Joe was a Walmart greeter, he'd welcome you to Target, okay?
All right, now.
Right church, wrong pew.
I do want to cover one more thing I heard at your rally.
See, you can't stop talking about it, Cochran. I'm totally right when I say it was such a tremendous rally. There was so much love. It really was. You should have been there.
I couldn't believe it when I heard it, but you actually claimed that white people are being discriminated against for COVID-19 treatment. You said,
yes.
If you're white, you go right to the back of the line. You can't believe that.
Oh, I do. I absolutely do. I'm not making this stuff up. What do you think I get this? Guess what? If you're orange, forget about it. Bye-bye. No soup for you. It's outrageous. As a matter of fact, I actually proved it on video just the other day. I did a sociology experiment.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. Tell me about it.
I went down to the local vaccination clinic. I wore a fake mustache, a fedora, and glasses. Okay. And the guy checking people in, he took one look at my incredibly natural tangerine-colored face. He bumped me right to the front of the line, ahead of 20 really pasty-looking white guys. So disgraceful. I mean, just totally look past them. It's like they weren't even there. They were wallflowers.
Yeah. Listen, I think you might be stretching it a little bit here, but that's what you do, sir. I get it. It's a highly rated podcast. You're trying to get as much attention as you can. I know you.
Excuse me. Just remember, Cochran, if you want good seats at my next rally.
Not interested in your next rally, sir.
What about Rams Bucks on Saturday? Tommy gave me 2 on the 10-yard line. They're yours for face value, plus 75%.
Very classy of you selling your comps. That's nice. Yeah.
Eagles tickets? How about Eagles tickets? Those guys could be dead soon, Cochran. By the way, fun fact. Did you know Hotel California was originally called Trump Hotel California?
No, it actually wasn't.
I thought of it because of the Eagles.
No, it wasn't. No, thank you. But before I go, well, you mentioned the Attorney General in New York. Let's talk about that because Don Jr. and Ivanka are on the criminal radar. Are you next? Hello?
I'm sorry. What's that? I can't hear you, Cochran. This line is just...
Yeah, of course.
Fiber optics. That's another thing to blame on Biden.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds terrible. Yeah, sure. Of course you can't hear me. Okay, goodbye, Mr. Trump.
Oh, later, loser.
30 years plus on the airwaves. You have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's live from my office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York to Carolina South, W. Cochran, Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No better place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's live from my office, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.